New wealth of top 1% surges by over 33.9 trillion since 2015, enough to end poverty 22 times over. Meanwhile, many of the wealthy were in Venice this week to celebrate Jeff and Lauren, who in true elite fashion shut down the city. They bought everything just like they buy their elections. This is why what happened in 2010 mattered. Remember when the Supreme Court said that companies have the same free speech rights as you? So now a company can come in and spend countless dollars to get their favorite politician hired, making your life as much fun as finally affording your European vacation and having everything you went to see shut down for a private event. These elites, they recruit political insiders to make sure that they don't have to pay you a livable wage. They also make sure they don't have to pay tax on the stocks they hoard but use to borrow money against. They ensure their businesses don't have to give you the services that you buy from them. Luigi. In their view, you're a non playable character in their game of hoard the money. Hi, I'm Kina. I talk about hard things with a soft voice. By the end of this video, you'll know how to flush this toilet full of the turds that we call politicians. Let's talk about New York City, specifically the Democratic mayoral primary. There were 7 people on the ballot, but we will only talk about two, Cuomo and mamdani. Let's unpack how mamdani's win might signal a pretty big shift away from the Democratic Party. This primary wasn't just a local New York thing. It's a kind of litmus test for the Democrats nationally. It's a pretty sharp rebuke to the more moderate wing, the new liberals, if you will. It's a shift towards a more progressive ideology. It's really about rethinking power, who the party serves. This goes way beyond New York. Let's start with Andrew Cuomo. He's New York's former governor. His father was New York's former governor. He definitely embodies the Democratic establishment. I mean, his race was funded with $25 million from a super PAC, money that gave him leverage, money that helped him get endorsements from people who called for his resignation as governor, money that lined up the establishment right behind him. Nonetheless, his campaign was aloof. Cuomo never really seemed to want to be there. He didn't appear to be committed. He was like someone who thought he had things in the bag. He limited his public engagements. When he did show up, he messed up what he was supposed to say. He even skipped candidate forums where the voters could get to know him. Also, he avoided the press. Some people working the campaign called him entitled, arrogant, and aloof. The feeling was he thought his name and past record were enough. He outsourced a lot of the actual campaigning, mostly to labor unions and paid canvassers. Apparently, some were paid $25 an hour, which isn't exactly a grassroots effort. His core message basically was, trust me, I've done this before. He sent that message to people who are really hungry for change. Also, he showed zero remorse for the sexual harassment allegations that forced him out as governor. He kept saying that he'd done nothing wrong. He even wished he had never resigned. I tell you what, power is a drug where indifference is a side effect, and I think he's hooked on it. Initially, Cuomo dismissed mamdani as unqualified. Mamdani ran a really energetic campaign. He was on the streets or in the subway. He built this enthusiastic volunteer army. It was very hands on, grassroots, the opposite of outsourcing. His campaign videos went viral. Mamdani's videos showed him across the city. He rode the subways. He embraced working New Yorkers. There was one video where he ran into the icy waters off of Coney Island to talk about freezing rent. It's visual. Freezing to talk about freezing rents. It showed him as someone willing to go the extra mile, someone who connects in a visceral way.
I'm freezing your rent as the next mayor of New York City. Let's plunge into the details. More than 2 million New Yorkers live in rent-stabilized units, and their rents are set by the Rent Guidelines Board. The board is made up of 9 members, and the mayor appoints each one. Doing this. Eric Adams' board has raised the rent every year he's been in office. Makes sense for a guy who said, I am real estate. Currently, 8 of Adams' 9 appointees' terms are up and could be replaced tomorrow. And that's exactly what I would do. Rent freezes have happened before. De Blasio's board did it 3 times. I would do the same every year, only appointing those who understand that landlords are doing just fine. Last March, the board found that landlord incomes rose by nearly twice the increase of their expenses. The median income for a rent-stabilized household is $60,000 a year. Any rent hike could push them out of this city. For those landlords who need a little extra help, there's a city fund they can apply to. So here's to a new year, a new mayor, and the same rent.
He disarmed the attacks of being unqualified by mentioning what else he hasn't done. Things like resigning in disgrace after being accused of sexual harassment by 13 women. Mamdani even talked to Trump voters. He sat down with them, listened to their issues, asked what it would take for them to consider voting Democrat. He showed an openness that really stuck with people. He wasn't vague. He proposed concrete things such as free public buses, universal childcare, freezing rent, and subsidized apartments, even city run grocery stores. All of that would be paid for with new taxes on the rich. Remember, the same rich who spend extra cash to buy political influence, the same rich who don't pay living wages, the same rich who are replacing jobs with AI. Oh, but Kina, we can work in the factories once they build them. No, you won't. They're building robots for that. But someone has to look after the robots. Yes, absolutely. The repair robots. I wouldn't be this excited if the win was only by Mamdani, but there were 4 other candidates across New York who had wins like this. There were also primary wins in Albany, Buffalo, and Syracuse. These wins represent a break from those new liberals who really shaped the party since the 1970s, the ones who shifted the party away from its old industrial white working class base, those who built a new coalition, one anchored in the professional class, highly educated city dwellers, people in the knowledge economy. Government's role was seen more as facilitating markets and fostering innovation. They used strategic public investment in high tech sectors. They had detailed plans, plans that didn't really catch on with voters. So they became Republican light because it's tough to sell complex long term plans when people are desperate for immediate help. Mamdani's campaign represents this much more direct class issue: affordability, housing, childcare, which the new liberals eventually shied away from. They became wary of being seen as big spending, high taxing, pro labor. They didn't always provide a tangible idea for the ordinary person. The new liberal couldn't tell you how government could solve your everyday problems visibly and directly. There's a desire for leaders who fight with enthusiasm and courage. They want someone who's not just bark, but can bite back. They want someone who is firm with their beliefs. People seem to want fighters, not just managers. They want people who will unapologetically tackle big problems. This is a movement pushing to make government effective again. Ooh, Magaya? Well, they are translating big ideas into real everyday economic help policies that improve daily life. It's about challenging the status quo economically. Andrew Cuomo represents a past era and older playbook. There's a real hunger for an activist government again, one that tackles affordability, inequality, social issues head on using progressive taxes. It bothers the elite that Mamdani won. They are freaking out. It's actually showing what they worry about. The real estate industry has their panties in a bunch. They have very developer friendly policies under the current mayor, Eric Adams. New York City developers gripped by hysteria after Mamdani's sudden rise. It shows just how deeply that industry is woven into New York's political machine. For them, Mamdani isn't just a policy shift. He represents a threat to their profit models. You had billionaire Bill Ackman almost immediately trying to recruit another candidate. He ended up backing Adams, who now is actually running as an independent. Mind you, Ackman originally backed Cuomo. And if you look wider politically, congressional leadership didn't exactly roll out the welcome mat. His big win really shows that deep discomfort when a candidate actually threatens the longstanding status quo that benefits the powerful. The meltdown wasn't just about policy or economics. He faced claims painting him as a terrorist. I wonder why. Representative Andy Ogles sent a letter to the Attorney General demanding Mamdani be denaturalized and deported. A sitting assemblyman deported 47 called him 100% communist lunatic on the Bird app. MTG posting that image of the Statue of Liberty in a mourning shroud. This is ideological panic that goes way beyond normal political opposition. It's a pretty clear picture of what genuinely unnerves the elite. It signifies a deep resistance to change, especially when a candidate embodies progressive ideas and represents demographic shifts that challenge who hold on to power. All of this came about with a very simple strategy: focus on policy. Things like affordable living and safe neighborhoods appeals to almost everyone. Build coalitions, connect with people outside of your usual cast. Grassroots mobilization rely on volunteers rather than billionaires. It's where the passion comes from. Leave the establishment behind. Frame campaigns as alternatives to the political status quo. With so many people losing their jobs these days or just paid so little it costs more to go to work than stay home, have you considered running for office yourself? Many of you watching this video have the experience needed to make the change that we all want to see. Mamdani ran under the Working Families Party. Tell me if they resonate with you. They want to earn enough to thrive, not just survive, and leave a better future for our kids. They want healthy food and clean water, safe neighborhoods, and a safe world. It's important to bring them up because four of their candidates in New York won their primaries. The responses to Mamdani's win have little to do with policies that need government bailouts in order for it to work. Wait, that's capitalism, the system that we're in now. Even if you're not going to run for office, use your voice. Mobilize the people in your life who are not political. Share candidates who you think will make a difference. Be a part of grassroots campaigns. We are the many. That is inherently more powerful than money. Thank you for joining me. YouTube wants you to watch this. I think they're right. You should. Okay, I'll see you soon.